Check out the grid. Touring Car Masters race number 1. It is Stephen Johnson alongside Gavin Bullis off that front row. Greg Crick, Eddie Abel-Nisa. They'll be starting off the second row, and there is Glenn Seaton, row number 4. Jason Gomasol in the I6 runner. He'll be out of row 5 alongside Keith Kasulki, but it's further back where we start to find some big names. Cameron Tilley in the Valiant, 6 cylinders of power right there. The thing's been screaming around turn 5 this weekend. Bill Pye in that beautiful replica Bob Jane Camaro. He's out of row number 8. And it's at the back of the grid where we find the real big names, including Jim Richards and Andrew Medici will actually be starting alongside him back there on row 12 as Brad Jones joins me in commentary. For the first time this weekend at Symmons Plains, it's time to go racing. NZ Touring Car Masters Race 1. Stephen Johnson in a Mustang alongside Gavin Bullis. They crawl towards the start-finish line where we'll get a green flag and get racing. Can Junior hang on to that lead? It's a pretty good start. He's a clear leader as they head over that first bump down towards turn 1. That's the perfect start for Stephen Johnson. He swings into the lead of the race. Yulden's on the outside. Can he hang tough from turn 3? The drag race begins.
And they look like they all got through there safely, which, you know, is no easy task.
This is where I was worried about 1 or 2 guys locking up. Bullis hounding the back of Stephen Johnson's big clear bumper right there. Jesus racing forward around the outside, as well as a number of other Falcons. Glenn Seaton and Brent Yulden going to go side by side through turn 5 on cold tyres. That's brave. Yulden will hang there in the Monaro V Mustang down towards turn 6.
Look at that thing of Yulden's ducking and diving around under brakes, and he's past King.
He's confident under brakes too, so it was fighting with Seaton, ends up picking up 2 spots. King will argue the point, running in the Pro-Am class, going through turn 7, tick off lap 1 of 12. And this is looking good for Stephen Johnson, but he's definitely not got away from Bullis just yet. We're riding on board with the man in second, Gavin Bullis, plucking top gear, which is 4th in these cars. He can't afford to let Mustang Sully skip too far away. He's also got Greg Crick right behind him.
And he's got the headlights on already, so he's signalling to Stephen that you do anything you can to try and get their attention to get them to look in the mirror and hopefully break a fraction earlier.
Oh, Freestone sends the pacer into the fence, and Tilley with a shake of the head.
Freestone didn't leave a lot of room there on the outside, did he?
And Tilley was none too impressed. He'll be looking in his mirrors here, because that'll cause a bit of a logjam behind him. A little bit of a lift.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a lift there, which is...
It's almost as if he's not wanting that thing to go hitting that limiter in 4th too much. He was taking a very wide entry down there at turn 6, so he might have had someone up the inside of him too.
Greg Crick is right on Gavin Bullis here. Hopefully in the next couple of laps they'll tighten up just a fraction more. And there's Glenn Seaton in front of King.
Okay, let's get old judge, jury and executioner on this one for us, Brad.
Okay, well, Paul's got down the front and he's, he's executed the pass and he's trying to keep that car as tight as he can, but unfortunately it's just, you can only got so much steering lock, and because he's turning in narrow, he's clipped Tilley on the outside.
He was 0.4 of a second quicker on that last lap, Stephen Johnson, and as a result has opened up a 1.3 second lead over Gavin Bullis. Still Mustangs 1 and 2. Then we go back to the first of the other makes, which will be the big Mopar Charger.
And while he is opening up a bit of a gap, Gavin Bullis has just done the fastest first sector of the race of any car. Stephen's jumped back on that second sector and done the fastest sector. So they're really, maybe at this point in time, they're matching their time a little bit closer. There's only a couple of tenths or hundredths in it either way right now. Here's Jim Richards charging through from the back of the field.
Steady as she goes right now. Whoa, we've got one around facing the wrong way. It's the Falcon GT of Wayne Mercer. And that was a very good effort, actually, from Gentleman Jim to avoid that car. I did see a little bit of grass getting flicked up. And I was wondering why that would be, and that would be exactly the reason. So Mercer managing to keep that car running, and no safety cars should be needed. Which is good news, because the battle for second is absolutely on. Just peeks out towards the left-hand side. Trying to help keep those brakes cool early on in this race, Greg Crick. Return to form at Bathurst last year, winning the round there, which was the track where he suffered some nasty health issues as a result of, I think it was the 12-hour, he suffered carbon monoxide poisoning and was out of the seat for a long time.
Long time in hospital, not very well at all.
It looked like racing would be a distant memory at one stage. He got back in the car, went back to Bathurst and won the round. It was a fabulous story showing just how gritty and determined he was to get back in that car and succeed.
In that lap, Gavin Bullis and Greg Crick were just a fraction faster than Stephen Johnson, but I think he's really just trying to measure his gap and maintain it. He'll just watch it seesaw. You know, in this class, I think you want to get a gap and try and just manage it as best you can. But we've got a great dice. Glenn Seaton's got back onto Yulden here.
He's going to have to come from a long way back if he was going to pull off that move. Yulden will hold on to 5th position at the moment.
It's normally the fastback Mustangs that we see racing in this class, certainly at the front. So it's a very early car that Glenn's in there. I'm not sure what year that might be, maybe 68 or something.
We were saying earlier that the last time Glenn raced here was 1995 for Dick Johnson Racing. Did claim a win in the Australian Touring Car Championship. 1998, he won the round here. Ford Credit Racing EL Falcon.
I can remember Norm Beachy racing a Mustang like that, and Brian Thompson when I was a kid. In fact, I think Tomo ended up with Beachy's old car. It was sponsored by Neptune, which turned into Shells, which is to the link to John Bound, Dick Johnson.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's taken that back a few decades. Neptune.
Yeah, Neptune Racing.
Zito fancies himself here to grab 5th position, but can't get it done there.
You know, back in those days, you used to have a Mini Cooper S that you could run with these guys. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen now.
Well, this will be frustrating for Tilly. He knows he's got the speed here on Andrew Fisher. And let's take you for a lap around this very tight 2.4K circuit. The old Valiant Pacer, screaming straight 6. Take the curve down at turn 2. Let's see how he goes in a straight line compared to some good old-fashioned Aussie muscle ahead of him, Roy. That was a bit close next at turn 3.
You see he's sitting on the outside there just to get a bit extra air into the front of the car. It does 2 things. Keeps the temperature down a little bit and it cools the brakes down a bit.
Always great exit there. But the problem is, listen to this thing scream in top gear. Here it goes. Yes. So much cool.
Have a go here.
And under brakes, 3rd gear, up the inside, gets the move done. Nice work from Tilly with the 2 hands on top of that thing, driving it like a helm. And he takes that position away. Good racing. He says he's going to throw a different diff in it overnight to try and stop it from screaming so much down there at turn 5. Bit of a dent to the left front fender too, courtesy of Paul Freestone.
Chasing Freestone down now, so he might be able to return the favour in the not too distant future.
Chance to return serve. He'll be focused squarely on the Camaro ahead of him. Oh, he might just get him here. Oh, gee, just got it stopped.
Okay, so when you heard that car go quiet, he's got all the brakes locked up, so the tyres are smoking, and it's just deadly silent inside the car because the car almost stalls. When you get off the brake, it fires back into life again. But as you can see, while it's quick going in, it doesn't actually give you any speed coming out. And his heart rate will be about 210 right now, I would have thought.
I'm sure he wants a bit of payback, but he doesn't want to completely spear him off down there at turn 4. He wants to do it cleanly. It's a busy little racetrack, no doubt about it. Don't get much of a chance to rest around here.
Not a lot of time to rest, but you know, as we were talking about yesterday, horsepower counts for a lot down here, but as does good brakes. And I think the Pace has got great brakes, and obviously the Camaro in front's got good horsepower.
Here comes poor Andrew Medicki, the White Line Racing Lubrimax Camaro around the outside. Fisher doesn't make it all too difficult for him. Winner of 2 races at the first round of the championship and your series leader. And the Pacers nearly got level with Freestone there.
But look at the difference in speed.
Oops, we've got the Mustang, one of the local Mustangs off at turn 2, John Talbot. Finds the racetrack once again. And way overcooked it over the turn 1 bump.
Looks like he's got the glove box on fire there. He's got that smoke coming out.
That's about as close as you want to get to the tyre wall down there.
I think so. Give the lawn a bit of a trim while you're out there, and then boom, back on the circuit.
Straight back onto it. Busy back for 5th position.
Now this looks like a good dice. There's plenty of blokes here, and Yulden maybe is slightly backing them up. Not a lot of difference in pace between this group of 4 or 5 cars.
Now the local Mustang's going to try and let the train go past you. That's wise.
Good idea.
So it's Yulden in 5th from Glenn Seaton. That's the Glenn Seaton. Mark King, last year's champion Pro-Am. Tony Karamfilowski back there at 8th.
That car of Yulden's, I watch that thing under brakes and you...
Seaton goes off. And they were just catching the back of McLeod's Falcon at that time. And the rear end of the Mustang snapped sideways. And he's going to lose a bunch of spots as a result. He'll go back behind Tilly, who's still fighting away in Odia after the engine change. Miedeke has come to a stop on the racetrack.
Well, that's very disappointing, and he was up a long way. He was up 12 or 13, I think he'd gotten up to, so he'll be very disappointed with that.
That is very disappointing.
Big opportunity to get points up on John Bowe this weekend, and so far, it's come to nothing.
Wow, just mid-corner and slowly got away from him.
Yeah, he's missed the apex there a little bit. He's got out a little bit wide, and the back of the car has just got away from him, and when that happens, you tend to loop him around.
The Mustangs called it a day as well over to the inside of turn 7, and
there's some oil down there or something.
That might be something slippery because it's just caught Greg Crick out, and if you can catch Crick out around here, something must be going on.
Yeah.
So 3rd in the race, and Crick slips off the road in the big Mopar.
There's no flags out there, so it's hard to know exactly what's going on, but it seems unusual, 2 blokes with that sort of experience. Now we see a bit of smoke coming out the back of Yulden's car. I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, but...
well, Seaton was behind Yulden when he spun.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's the final lap of the race. It's been an exciting one. 12 laps have just gone like that. And on the way back to the checkered flag, driving Mustang Sally is Stephen Johnson, continuing that great relationship that Johnson and Bowe have together. And you have to go back a long way to find someone who has won on debut. And I guess at 40 years old, he's a bit of a whippersnapper for
this class. Yeah. He'd be the kid.
He's got to take the checkered flag in a canter. Stephen Johnson, that is excellent from Bullis. And I believe we Abel Nisa should be home for 3rd, a long way back. Here he comes now out of the last corner. And a good race, and I wonder if maybe that is some liquid coming out of the back of Yulden's car. He just hangs on to what would be 4th position. And Stevie J's doing everything he can to say that he should be on the grid at Bathurst this year. He means business in 2015, whether it be in the Australian GT Championship or here in Touring Car Masters. He's raced in 4 fairly high-profile categories in the last 6 months, including Dunlop Series, which he ran before the Enduros last year, and also, of course, with Dick Johnson Racing at Bathurst, and did a great drive at that event until they had an untimely issue and crashed out of the race. But he's doing everything he can right now to prove that he's still got it.
Well, and has just done a great job. He's the leanest I've seen him for years, and he's on top of his game at the moment. Well done, Stevie.
So a 3.6-second victory in the end. Gavin Bullis decided to give up the fight and hang on to 2nd. Eddie Abel Nisa grabbed 3rd after Crick's spin. Crick dropped all the way back down to 9th. That great battle between Freestone, who finished back down in 10th, and the man behind him, Cameron Tilley, who finished back there in 11th. And guys still going off on the way back. That's King, last year's Pro-Am champ, finding his way back onto the racetrack.